We are just back from Sicily, and my sister-in-law Mariolina donated me some black olives. They are about 4 or 5 days old. They were black when they were removed from the tree. And these are a type of olive called Nocellara del Belice. And some of you, when I made some marinated eggplants, asked me, how do you marinate olives? So I will be doing two kinds today, black olives and green olives. I'll do the black olives first. And this is really simple, by the way. And this is ideal as they've been in this bag for a few days, but has been open. We travelled back from Sicily, so I didn't have a choice in the matter. And I'm going to show you. So, the reason why they're black, as I mentioned, is because they are more mature. Very simply, get a toothpick, and they are a little bit softer already, as they are a little bit more mature. And I'm going to do one hole at the bottom, one at the top, one on the side, and one on the other side. And I'll start collecting them inside a pasta drainer. So, bottom, top, side, and side. Pasta drainer. So I'll do all of these. Julie's going to put the camera down. She's going to help me, and then I'll show you what to do next.
No, I think I'm busy now. I need to go off and do something else.
The purpose of these little holes, by the way, is dual. One is to allow the salt, I'll be putting some salt in a little while, to penetrate the olive and cook it. That's the word they use in Sicily. And the second one is to allow the moisture to come out. So 4 little holes is enough. Julie was asking me when the camera was off, are you sure they're okay? Because they looked to me like she used the word rotten. That is not the case, by the way. They're not rotten. That is very much how they make these olives. They're called Passuluna in Italian, by the way, or in Sicilian, I should say. And I've got a couple here. One which is well advanced, actually almost ready to eat, because they've been in the bag for a little while. And I'll show you this one inside. Obviously it's not kind of ready, but if I cut with a little knife, you can see that inside the pulp, it's already on of a brown color. When this will be ready, they will be totally black. This can go in. I'll get another one which is quite hard still, and I'll cut into this one, and I'll show you that inside will be green. Look, can you see? This is still green. I'll keep it. They're too precious to throw away. Okay, so having completed step 1, I'll show you what step 2 is. And this is very much down to individual choices. The quantity of salt you put in is entirely up to you. But obviously you will need some because they need to cook. So here I've got some normal salt, and I'll sprinkle some on top first. Then I'll go in with my hands and I'll give everything a good mix together. And I'll go in again. More salt and more mixing. And I'll stop. Here I've got a pot. I'll put that underneath, and this one goes on top. And this is quite an important step, by the way, especially if you want your black olives to be nice and soft. So, little plate goes on top. Make sure that the plate is smaller than your container, whatever you're using. And here I am armed with my weights, which I tend to only use.
I'm going to change that. They're not his weights, they're his son's weights.
I only use them these days to do the jobs like this. And I've got altogether about 12 kilos. And I will apply them on top of my plate. And they will be applying a lot of pressure on my olives. And I will leave them. And I will check them in 7 days' time. And then at that point I might have to put a little bit more salt maybe, but we will check what they look like. There might be a little bit of, not mold, what looks like mold. Do not panic. It's not going to be a problem. That is very much a feature of this job. So I'll put this aside, and I'll go on with the green olives next. With the green olives, I've been keeping them in water for a few hours so that they are washed and rinsed from any dust or any dirt. In the old days, they used to keep them in water for 2 or 3 days, but I spent some time with an expert while I was in Sicily, and he said to me pretty much, do not bother, no need to. Just give them a good wash and leave them in water for a couple of hours, and that's plenty enough. So you do not need to keep them in water for 2 or 3 days.
But of course we won't tell your mum or your sister or
No.
Anybody that, because they all still do it in water, leave them in water, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that they do most probably because of traditions more than the real value added. But that's fine. You do what you wish. I've kept them in water for 2 or 3 hours. And also, when we were in Sicily, we tested some of the olives that this gentleman produced. He's obviously a business, and I'm following very much his method of doing this, which is very traditional now in Sicily. And nothing here, by the way, is rocket science. Everything is really, really easy, and all based on old traditions on how they do these things still today in Sicily. With the black olives, I pierced them, and they were fine, very easy. In this particular case, we need to make sure that I crack them open, and that will also allow the salt to go in and cook them. So you got different ways on how you can do that, and I've got here a meat basher, which is mostly what I'll be using today, and ensure that you've got a nice and smooth surface. You can also use here, I've got one here, a stone, and I've got here a flint. Again, I washed it and ensure that it's got a nice smooth surface, or indeed, if you like, you can use a little knife or a little paring knife. So I'll try different methods today, and I'll let you know which one is best. I'll start with my meat basher first, and I'll go very gently though, enough to just really gently crack it open. You do not need to go mad, and otherwise it will explode. Just a little crack, enough for the salt to get in, and carry on. So I'll do another one. That's good. My mum, for years and years and years, always used to use one of those flints, and I don't know what, it doesn't work. Do it again. There you go. I think as you do more and more, obviously you understand how strong to go. You can also use a hammer, but remember, you're not hammering a nail, you are trying to break the surface of an olive. Another option, and this is what my friend Massimo suggests, is to also use a knife. So again, you can go in, do that, and that's good enough. Enough for the salt to go in. And actually, most probably, this is the more modern and quicker way of doing it, I guess. And let's try with this one.
I think I like the meat basher one best.
Meat basher, yes. The meat basher actually gives a more of a rustic look, because it actually does split open, whereas with a little knife, it gives only a little cut. But we will do some and some, and then we can compare. So once again, I'm going to add Julie.
It's the only reason he's brought me out here today.
I said to her, can you come and help me do this, really, not the video? And I've got quite a lot to do, so we will see you once Julie's put the camera down, and we will carry on. See you in a little while.
Yeah, I'm going to spread them out. This is the way forward.
I think Julie's enjoying herself.
Yeah,
so what do you say, Julie? What is the best way?
I do quite like the stone, funnily enough. More than the cutting with a knife. I think cutting with a knife's a bit too pretty. I mean, you want them to look a bit gnarly, don't you?
Gnarly.
Gnarly, yeah. Look, lovely. Yeah. I quite like the stone. Nice, clean, soft, like a flat, smooth stone. Let's have another little go with this. Hang on. I'm a little bit heavy-handed with this.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
But it's very hard to get it just perfect, like old Tortellino over there. Oh dear, two popped in there by mistake.
I've gone for the elegant little cut, whereas Julie has absolutely massacred the olives. Made a mess here.
There's not science involved. If you look, some are harder, some are softer.
You should have seen her. They were flying everywhere.
They were on the floor. But look how many I've managed, everybody.
Yes.
As opposed to Francesco's little pile.
Yeah, of course.
There's quite a difference, look.
Yeah, but mine are there. Look, so these are Julie's, and here are mine. All right, you've done a little bit more than mine. Never mind. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. It should not make any difference. But we will be interested to test if there is a difference or not by the time they're ready. I should point out that when I spoke to my friend Massimo, he did say to me, ensure that your olives are as fresh as possible, so only within a few days of being picked from the tree. These olives were donated to me by my friend Enzo, and we made a little video when we were in Sicily on how they make olive oil, and there will be a little link up here if you want to see that. But Enzo, who grows olives for olive oil purposes, he very kindly donated me these olives so that I could marinate them here in the UK. One thing I should say is that they need to be quite firm, And if they are too soft, unlike the black ones, not good really. You want to start with a nice firm olive, and also ideally this is not good because they do stipulate that they need to be green, mostly for aesthetics I suppose as well. But I did actually carry mine in my hand luggage and some in my case, and the black ones are the ones in my hand luggage. And if I was in Sicily, most probably they would not use these for marinated green olives. They might make Passuluna or throw them away. But they traveled 2,335 miles with me, and I'm not going to throw them away, so I'm going to stick to the original plan. And this is a different process, of course, to the black ones. So I'll go here a liter of water. I might have to do this twice as I've got 2 containers. And I'm going to tear it off so that I start from 0. And I'm now applying 10% of salt to a liter of water. So 63, I won't end up at 100. There you go, there or thereabout. That'll be fine. Oh, 100, perfect. And I'll mix it together so that all of the salt is dissolved in the water. I'll pour it inside my bowl with the olives, making sure that all of my olives are totally covered by water and salt. I just added a little bit more water as I was slightly short, so, and a little bit more salt, in it goes. So what is important is that if you place your hand on top of your olives, you can press them down and they are totally submerged in water. Now here I've got one of Julie's 20,000 Tupperware container. She's got this thing about them.
I have. I love them when they come in a set. And there's a certain supermarket in the UK when they've even got some new ones this year with new colours, and I'm desperate to buy them.
Always.
I never mind.
A bit like your Christmas spatulas.
Absolutely.
So I'm using the lid of another Tupperware container that fits inside so that I can apply some pressure, and I'll go a little weight here and I'll put it here, and this will ensure that air will still get in and out, but also they will stay underwater. So I'll repeat exactly the same process with this one, and then I'll show you what happens next. The advice from my friend Massimo was not to be mean with salt. You can add more, but do not add less. And I'll explain that in a moment why is the case. So I'm now doing the second lot, and that should be more because this is my lot and it's a bit smaller than Julie's. And this is also ready. So 10% salt. I will leave this for 7 days. I will not touch it, and within a few days you will see that a little frothy foam will develop. Do not panic. It's very normal because everything is beginning to ferment, and the olives will be cooking inside. That's what the salt does. In 7 days time I will check the salt label, and what Massimo did say to me is that you will need to top it up. When they make these olives industrially, they've got equipment that measure the grading of salt to ensure that it stays broadly at 10%. In a kitchen at home you don't have such equipment, so the best thing to do is to check it by testing it. But I'll do that in 7 days time, and then I will be likely to top it up to ensure that the salt stays roughly at 10%, because that is what ensures that you get a nice and solid olive at the end. So do not worry about the froth. It's not mold, it's perfectly normal, and I'll see you in 7 days time. By then I will also check the black olives, which will have dried and they will be well on the way. So ciao ciao for now, and see you then.
Just a question though, my love.
Yeah.
Why don't you pop your finger in now and try and sort of gauge the saltiness of the water now? Because otherwise, how are you going to gauge whether it's less salty? Do you see what I mean? In 7 days time,
I knew there was a reason why I married her.
I was going to say, are you just going to chuck some more salt in?
Okay. It's salty, a bit like seawater salty, but I think I will be able to remember it in 7 days time, but we'll see then. Thank you, see you later. Let's see what difference 7 days make. 168 little hours. There you go. I think Julie's more impressed about the fact that I can carry 12 kilos of weights more than anything else.
Absolutely, you need to get on that, dear. You need to make that a daily occurrence.
Okay, let's start with the one marinated in salt. And here are the ones that I have very elegantly cut with a knife. And here are Julie's.
Oh, so that makes them mine.
That makes Julie. Now, if you look, as I mentioned before, you can see that there is a little bit of mold or whatever, as I mentioned before, it's not a problem. It's very much a feature of the fermentation, so do not panic. Okay, I have opted to go for a more scientific method to test the saltness in the water rather than just try to remember what the salt level was before. So here I've got 100 milliliters of water and I've added 10 grams of salt. So what I'll do, I'll just dip my finger here and I'll taste it first.
Oh,
Salty. Maybe not as salty as before. Let's try here. Oh, definitely saltier. So Massimo is absolutely right. The level of salt content in the water has gradually reduced because it's been absorbed by the olives. So I need to add a little salt. So it is say play by ear, and that is what I'll do. I'm an accountant, so I can play by ear very well. So I will follow his advice. Just say fill up a spoon full of salt and add it in, and I got a little bit more water here, and I will just top it up only slightly, and I'll mix it, and I'll split it 50-50 over here and some over here, and I'll give everything a good mix like this and like so. And also before I leave them, I'll just test them. So I'll try one of my elegant ones and test it. Oh, it's well on the way. Actually, has lost its bitterness, is strong, and most probably needs a little longer, but they are getting there very nicely. Let's try one of Julie's to see what they're like, comparative terms. They're identical. It goes to show really, it doesn't matter if you crush them or if you cut them with a knife. So I will leave this now back in place as before, and they will need another 3 or 4 days. So today is Saturday, so I will see them again on Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday next week, and I'll move on to the black olives over here. So let's remove the weights. Let's get rid of this. Okay, you can see there is a little bit of rust developed to the bottom because of the weights, of course. And here they are. And likewise, you can see that the odd olive has got the odd trace of one could call maybe gentle mold, or maybe the salt, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. And before I proceed though, I want to test one because these look more advanced. You can see that some of them are greener than others, so for example this one here, but some of them are well on the way. So I'll just pick a black one. Before I test it though, I'll slice it open to see the color inside. So let's have a look. So you can see that they are on the way. They're browner than they were before, but they should be a little bit darker, but I'll test it anyway and see what it's like. Oh, okay, lovely. They're really sweet, and they've gone soft, which is typical of Passuluna, and they most probably will be ready now. However, in line with the instructions I was given, I don't want to deviate too much, I'll add a little bit more salt, not a lot this time, and I'll give them a little mix once again, and I will also leave them for a few more days.
Shall we see what's underneath?
Yes, of course, very good point. Oh, look all of the liquid which has been drained. Quite remarkable, actually.
Can we do anything with that?
I don't know. The garden
Is that something you'll have to look into?
I'll look into it. I'll let you know. I'll let you know next time when we look at them again on Wednesday. By the way, I've also documented myself a little bit further, and by the time I will see you again on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a few days, I will also give you some ideas on what you can do with them, and you can eat them straight away as they are, of course, but I produced a little list here where I've got some recipes on how you can marinate them further. So I've got a classic combination, which will be a number about 8 or 9, such as lemon slices, chilli and garlic, which is very typical Sicilian, or the southern Italian inspiration, such as Calabrian spicy chilli with gallac and bay leaf, but also got some other variations from all over the world. So for example, I've got aromatic variations which has got coriander seeds, orange zest and thyme, and others also sweet and rich in tones, and international spices and twists. So for example, I will be giving you the Spanish model or the Greek or Moroccan. I will not be doing them all next week, but I will tell you how you can safely do it, especially if you're using gallac, so that you avoid botulism. And then I will make this, not this one, it's dirty now, I'll make this available online so you can download it and you can do whichever version you like. So that's the lot for now. You've had my 168 hours update, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Ciao ciao for now. I'll start with the black ones because they're ready. So I'll just remove the weights. So here we go. So this is exactly 11 days since the very beginning when they were put in salt, and they are ready actually, pretty much done. Some of them are greener than others, but that's fine. I'm sure that they will be perfectly okay. And very simply, to start with, I will move them into a little plastic bowl over here, and I will marinate some in a little while alongside some of the green ones, but I will not marinate all of them, and they will live here in the fridge, and as and when I want them I can then marinate them or just eat them as they are. I'll just try one more.
It'd be rude not to.
Just had my breakfast, but you never turn an olive down, especially from Sicily. The other day Julie asked me what to do with this, and I said I would find out. I read about it, and it's not good for for consumption in terms of human consumption, but generally in Sicily they just throw it away because it's the water content from the olives, but also it's got a high degree of salt and minerals, so it's very, very, very not nasty, but very strong. But one thing that we are going to be doing, having read about it, is to dilute it with water, and 1 part of this and 10 part water, so most probably we'll fill it up, and we will put it in our compost bin. And because of the high degree of salt and minerals, it will accelerate the composting process. So
good.
It doesn't go to waste.
Oh, that's made me very happy.
I knew
that's how sad I am.
I haven't told Julie that. She's only just found out.
So literally, you don't have to put anything else on top of them, just like that, and they'll be okay in the fridge?
They're just good as they are in the fridge, and they will be delicious anytime you want to eat them. Okay. But I will marinate them also, as I said. So let's move on to the other batch, and I will pick the green one because I was told that Julie wants... no, I picked the red one. I was told by Julie that she wants the red one back. So I will use this. So let's take a look to see what they look like now. Oh, these are the elegant one, Julie, not yours. I'll just test one again.
I can hear them more crunchy, aren't they? Well, they would be, yeah.
They're lovely. They are stronger, but as a Sicilian, I love them. But most probably, if you're used to eat olives from supermarkets and so on, you might find them a little bit too strong. But they're perfect as they are. So I will marinate some, but I'll show you what to do to continue the process. First thing I'll do is to remove some of the surface water where there is a little bit of this foamy stuff, which I can easily remove now. I said the other day that I will talk to you about safekeeping of olives and how you can preserve any food in a safe way. So I want to make sure that anything I tell you, it's absolutely safe. But the first thing I'll do is to remove the olives from my water, my brine, and I'm using a ladle here with the holes underneath so that I transport as little water as possible. And this is a little salad drainer, and I think it's ideal for this job. So I'm gonna scoop about maybe 3, that'll be fine. And I'll give them a quick spin to ensure that I remove as much of the surface water as possible. I'm taking a very safe approach to this because although very rare, botulism, it's very dangerous. And I'll explain a little bit more in a little while, but it can be lethal if not dealt with properly. I don't want to scare you, but you need to be aware of it. And if you look, can you see? That is a little bit of brine which I already removed. in using some kitchen paper, I'm now patting them dry so that I can remove as much of the surface water as possible. So they're dry enough, and I'll move them in a separate container for the time being. Today I'm going to be marinating my olives with some garlic, even if Julie is not very keen, because some of you actually have asked in the past.
To be fair, it's just that I don't like olives with garlic. I love garlic with everything else, but it's just, for me personally, it's just something about it I'm not that keen on.
Okay. However, today I'm going to show you a way to do it, which is really safe. And as I mentioned before, it makes botulism also a thing of the past. So I'm going to quickly apply a little oil on a frying pan, and I'm going to be fairly generous because I'm not going to fry the garlic. I'm going to gently warm it up. And likewise, I'm going to use some chili peppers also. These are chili peppers which I keep in the freezer, so another extra reason to take this step. So, what is botulism, and why am I always banging on about it? It's actually quite rare, and it's a little bit like a poison if you're not careful. And it's the ideal condition that it gets created when you are placing raw products such as garlic, or indeed even chili peppers, or other vegetables like broccoli and cauliflowers, in raw olive oil. And what happens is that it matures, develops kind of a mold, if you like, and the olive oil hasn't got any air, and it's a perfect condition for this botulism to come up, and it can be lethal and poisoning. And what is worse is that you will not know it's there, because actually you will not see like mold, you will not taste it. And it is actually something that I've seen and spoken about it a lot, but unfortunately a lot of content creators tend to somehow ignore it sometimes. And I've seen viewers asking very responsible questions on the subject, and the response from the creator can be very defensive and often fueled by a degree of ignorance and sometimes arrogance, because actually it is something that exists, and their response is that the mom or the grandmothers have done it for generations and nothing has ever happened. You can take the same view with crossing the road without looking. You can cross the road 100 times without looking, and you never get run over, but all it takes is one time for the car to come and hit you. So why take the risk? So what I'm doing here, I'm removing the moisture element from the garlic and from the chili, which is what helps develop botulism. It's a bit like when I make my breadcrumbs. I've got my little container over here. I'll give you a very good and clear analogy. I have made these breadcrumbs about 3 months ago, and here they are. They look perfectly okay. There is no mold, they're dry, and they are beautiful. And what I do, I pretty much buy the bread when it's fresh. I leave it out to dry in a room for about 4 or 5 days. Then I put it in the food processor, and I place it in here. I drill some holes on my lid, and I'll leave it to continue do its own thing. And what happens, because there is air circulation and the breadcrumbs have dried, there is no mold. However, if I was to place my fresh bread inside my container and I place the lid on, no holes, within a day or two you will have some mold developing. So effectively the container is the equivalent of the oil, and me drilling the holes and me drying the bread is the equivalent of what I'm doing now with the garlic and the chili. Effectively, I am removing the moisture to make it safe. I have got a second list here which I'll be sharing with you guys, because what is close to my heart is also your safety, and this is not an area that really can be ignored, and it's very rare, as I said. Again, I don't want to scare you, but it's there. So I've got a list here of a many ingredients guide where you can treat certain things for preservation, starting from garlic and fresh chili, even basil and parsley. They can actually hold moisture. So the general rule is that if it's wet, dry it. If it's juicy, make sure that you cook it, or if it's dry, you can use it. So I'll make this available also on on with the video alongside the other list of different ways on how you can marinate your videos, your olives, and hopefully you will find it useful, and be safe. So while I've been talking, my garlic and my chili has been very gently warming up. You can see that it's very low in temperature, and I will leave for another minute so that it dries up, and then it will be ready. And that is it, it's enough. I can turn this off. I have sliced my garlic thinly, so it will not take very long, so I can safely remove it from the heat. I'll place it here and I'll leave it to gently cool down until it's reached a good temperature so that I can mix with the olives. In the meantime, I'll show you other ingredients I'm going to be using for this marinade. And I've got a combination of sun-dried tomatoes and also capers. Now, sun-dried tomatoes, I do not need to do with them what I've just done with the garlic and the chili pepper, because they are sun-dried and they are already dry. And that will be in my list. So I'll get, again, something Julie's not too keen, so I'll make sure that I don't go excessively mad.
That's okay, I pick them out and give them to you.
I know you do. And here are some capers. And the one thing I need to do is to remove them from the salty water. And just like olives, these are already treated, so I am comfortable that there is no real water left here, because they are in a fairly acidic solution, and acidity is what you also need to ensure that you can fight botulism. And being that the capers are salty, I'm not going to add any salt whatsoever to this, and also the sun-dried tomatoes tend to be quite salty, so this is perfect. Oop, look, there is a piece of garlic. I'm glad to go in the bin, as this is untreated. And I'll make a start, and this is really simple. So I've got some of my black olives, and they can go and form a little base. I will add some of my green olives next, a few capers, sun-dried tomatoes, and I'll scoop some of my oil and some of the garlic and the chili pepper and place it inside. And I'll start again, and I'll carry on until I reach the top. So layer of olives once again, and this time I'm gonna go and put all of my remaining oil inside, all of my remaining sun-dried tomatoes and capers, and I'll finish with a layer of green and black olives.
Looks lovely.
Here I've got some of the green gold of Castelvetrano. This is olive oil which was donated to me by my friend Filippo when I visited Sicily last time around. I made a little video on how this is made. I will make it available on this video of course. And I'll go very gently to ensure that the oil finds its way all the way to the top, and I'll stop once it reaches the top, and that's perfect. You will have noticed that I haven't added any dry basil or any dry rosemary or anything like that, because it's not necessary. The best thing to do is to add those additional herbs when you get them out, and they will be fresh, and also they will release a lot more flavor. And these are ready to eat, of course, because they are already ready to eat, but I will give them a couple of days, and then Julie and I will tuck in, and I'm likely to get the garlic. Now the remainder of my olives will continue fermenting, and the longer you leave them to ferment, the milder they'll become in taste. So what I'll do is exactly what my mum used to do, but more of a larger scale, and I'll show you also what my mum used to do. So I'll mix them together in one container, as I should have enough now so that everything fits in. And I'll put the lid on properly this time, and they will go in a dark room, room temperature is fine, and they will continue doing their own thing. And it will take between now and February to get to that optimal position in terms of taste. But any time in between now and then, you can eat them. And what my mum used to do, she'd just pick some, and then she would either marinate them in olive oil or eat them just as they are. Entirely up to you on how you choose to do them. But there will be a point eventually in time, and that is likely to be February next year, where the olive will stop absorbing salt, and it doesn't matter how long you leave them in there for. They can stay in there for a year if you like, but obviously they will no longer go through the process. Also, something else which is very common is to put them in jars. So it's the same as that, but again, get some olives and put them in. Go to the top, but leave a little bit so that there is room for your water. Then go back to your salted water and add it to the jar. So here again, put the lid on, but as Massimo, my friend, said, do not do it too tight. Make sure that it's a little bit loose so that you get the circulation of air still going on. And again, my mum used to leave it like that also, and then the jar is ready for you to empty it. You can rinse it under the water if you want to remove the saltiness from the olives, dry them, and off you go. And that is all. That's pretty much all you need to
just
do.
hope that you remember that the lid is a little bit loose when you go to pick them off the shelf, because that's the sort of thing I would do, is end up with them on the floor. But there we are.
She has actually got a history of breaking a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm a bit clumsy.
And as you can see, I'm armed with lots of other jars. My job today is going to be to make little jars and fill them up just like this, and donate them to my children and family so they can also enjoy these lovely olives from Castelvetrano. So it's a very simple process, just a little bit of patience, a little bit of care and attention if you choose to marinate them with garlic or anything else. Otherwise, just eat them as they are. They're just as delicious. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and see you later. Bye bye.